Hey, I'm back again. So my wife was having a baby. I was being a dutiful husband by her side while she went through 13 hours of intense labor. It was during this time that my wife called me every name in the book.
You did this to me. It's all your fault.
You're doing great, honey.
Don't you touch me.
Hang in there, baby. The baby's coming. I see the head. Huh, it doesn't look that big.
Yourself.
Well, while I was waiting for my wife to recover, I had some time to think, and naturally my mind drifted to the movies. My wife during labor kept telling me how mean and dumb I was, and I thought to myself, what other movie had mean or dumb men? Then it dawned on me. Ghostbusters reboot in 2016, which starred an all-female cast, had a ton of mean and dumb men. But which ones were mean, and which ones were dumb? Want to know more? Well, let's dive on into the estrogen-fueled Ghostbusters. Answer the call. The movie begins with Gabe from The Office giving a tour of the Aldrich Mansion in New York. I guess because Sir Aldrich was rich, that his home is now a museum? Anyway, so Gabe is showing the house to a group of tourists, making bad jokes and being just as funny as he was in The Office. Glad to see some things don't change, Gabe. So Gabe then proceeds to tell his visitors about Sir Aldrich's daughter, Gertrude. I have a friend named Gertrude. And how this Gertrude was a spoiled little that knifed the staff while they slept. And rather than turn her over to the police, the family instead opted to lock her in the basement, where she ultimately shit the bed, and then the house is now haunted. Well, some silliness ensues and the tour ends. We then see Gabe shutting off the lights to the mansion when he hears a noise coming from the basement door. Gabe goes to inspect what he's hearing, and he's greeted by a scary female scream, and the door starts shaking. Doing what any rational person would do, Gabe makes for the exit only to find the door handle hot and glowing red. The ghost of Gertrude then tosses Gabe around the room, which sends him running to find another escape. Rather than sprinting to find an exit out the back, Gabe decides instead to head down to the basement where Gertrude is allegedly buried, and it's the same door where he heard the initial scream. What f***ing moron would do this? Sorry, Gabe, but you are dumb. Next up, we are introduced to Erin Gilbert, played by Kristen Wiig. And I'm sorry, I have to stop for a second. Kristen Wiig is one of the most unfunny comedians I've ever seen. She always tries to play her character in the movies as some sort of autistic, goofy, awkward victim that portrays everyone in society as just mean to her. So take that, society, you are mean. But seriously, Bridesmaids, Ghostbusters, Wonder Woman 1984, hell, even that Lucy character from the Despicable Me movies. It just comes across as obnoxious, and honestly, after a few minutes of watching her act, it begins to irritate the f*** out of you.
This isn't funny, you stupid bitch.
Okay, let's get through this. So Erin appears to be some sort of professor at Columbia University on the verge of being tenured, and she's obviously very nervous about it. She's about to give a lecture in the big auditorium when Ed, played by Ed, approaches her about a book on the paranormal that she had written with a partner from a previous job. Ed, played by Ed, pleads with Erin that he believes the Aldrich Mansion is haunted and wants Erin to come take a look at it. Erin turns to Ed, played by Ed, down and is upset that her old partner has published a book that Erin views as something that could derail her tenure. Gilbert then heads to confront her old partner, Abby, played by Melissa McCarthy, about the book. It's here where we are introduced to Abby's new partner, Holtzman, played by Kate McKinnon. And all I could say is that my decision to stop watching SNL 20 years ago was probably the best decision I ever made in my life. Well, that and not going to the movies with Paul Rubin. But you get what I'm saying. So Erin is big mad about the book that Abby has published. But when Erin mentions the haunting at the Aldrich Mansion, Abby agrees to take the book down just so long as she gets an intro to Ed, played by Ed.
Then we have an accord.
All three unfunny women head out to the Aldrich Mansion, where they are greeted by Gabe, who shows he's still a retard when Erin asks for Ed, played by Ed, and Gabe says that Ed's been dead for 15 years, when in actuality, Erin meant Ed's son, Ed, played by Ed.
See, that's funny.
Anyways, so Abby asks Gabe to take her to the mansion, and Gabe just tosses the keys, saying he ain't going in, which I kind of understand, but then Ed, played by Ed, embarrasses Gabe, telling the chicks that Gabe shit himself. Yep, Ed, played by Ed, is mean. So the girls head inside, and without any build-up really, they come face to face with Gertrude, who proceeds to vomit all over Erin, because I guess she's into that kink, and then takes off. What I find interesting here is that only the chicks witness the ghost. I know Gabe is a pussy, but where is Ed, played by Ed? Oh well, so all three women run outside trying to chase Gertrude, and Abby records Erin saying that she definitely believes in ghosts, to which Abby then uploads the video to YouTube, and is ultimately seen by Erin's boss, and f*** me! Why the hell can't I get this many views that fast? God damn it! Well, Erin's boss doesn't like what Erin did, and fires her on the spot, making her boss mean. After leaving Columbia, Erin proceeds to confront Abby again on the video, but she's only angry for like half a second, and then they talk about chasing more ghosts and decide to pitch the idea to Abby's boss for some additional funding. Well, Abby's boss is a moron, which makes him dumb. But then he proceeds to give all three women sitting across from him the middle finger, telling them to get out, which also makes him mean. The girls then decide to loot the joint on their way out. Classy. Next, we are introduced to Patty, who works in the subway as some sort of Walmart greeter. And I'm sorry, but this is just bullshit. I've lived in New York, and I've ridden the subway countless times, and there is no fucking way that there's anyone that nice that works for the transit authority. Every person I have ever met that worked at the MTA hates their life, and they hate you too for even being in their life. Their jobs are soul-sucking grinds, and the only thing that gives them an inkling of pleasure is watching the commuting folks suffer. But this is fiction, so sure. It's here where Patty, while saying hi to folks and offering up kind words, that we are introduced to the main villain, Rowan North. Rowan then proceeds to say something racist to Patty and heads into the subway tracks. Patty, not wanting to let the cracker get away with the slur, chases after North, only to be met by a ghost, and somehow she is the only one that sees it. Well, Rowan sees it too, but more on that later. Next, we find out more about Rowan, and as it turns out, he's some sort of bellhop janitor lowlife that is going to take revenge from being bullied by bullying others. Yeah, that always seems to work out.
Personally, I think you're a fucking idiot.
The thing I found funny in this scene is that he obviously is trying to do his best to sound evil, but he comes across like a squeaky, bug-eyed man that probably just needs a good pegging. We cut back to the girls looking at properties to set up shop, and of course they are at the original firehouse from the original Ghostbusters. But due to inflation and gentrification, the rent is too high, so they wind up in a space above the Chinese restaurant that Abby frequents for some reason. It's here where she's complaining to the same delivery guy about the food. Again. You know, I agree with other creators that ask if Abby wanted her food faster, why didn't she just take her fat ass downstairs and pick up her own goddamn food? But I personally am more concerned about the size of that fucking soup. Yeah, I get it only has one shrimp in it, but shit, that looks like a liter of sodium. The average cup of shrimp wonton soup has roughly 1,000 milligrams of sodium in it, and looking at the size that Abby has, it appears to have at least 4 cups of sodium put in it, which would make it twice the daily recommended intake, and that's just her appetizer. I think the rest of this movie should focus on Abby's heart being a ticking time bomb, and maybe she fights the ghost with a heart attack or something, but whatever. So I need someone to explain this to me. Why do girls always break out into dancing whenever they're just hanging out doing mundane things? When dudes hang out, it pretty much involves drinking beer or having a glass of scotch. I don't understand, chicks. Next, we are introduced to Kevin, played by Chris Hemsworth, who's applying for the receptionist job, and we quickly see that Erin takes quite a fancy to him. Based on what I've seen with her beta boyfriend, it's been a long time since she's had a good humping. However, it's Kristen Wiig. I mean, if I was really hard up, maybe, I don't know, I'd probably still say no. It's not like she's horrible, but that personality just screams bag of cats. Oh, we quickly learn that Kevin is adult, and before we slap the label on him, I have to say that his moronic character was the only person that got a slight chuckle out of me. His dog named Mike Hat was stupid, but the aquarium is a submarine for fish. I went, Anyways, sorry Kevin, you were still dumb. Well, after Kevin leaves, we are reintroduced to Patty, who proceeds to tell the girls she saw a ghost in the subway. Patty then takes them into the subway to show them, and it's here where we see Discount M&M spray painting the original Ghostbusters logo on the wall, while being kind of a dick to Patty. Discount M&M then departs, leaving Patty to have to clean up his shit. Sorry, Discount M&M, you are mean. All the girls then go down to the subway tracks, which, if this is a live rail, which it is, Patty should be fired for putting civilians in this level of danger. Not to mention, we're carrying a whole bunch of untested and unstable equipment into an underground public mass transit system? Yeah, we haven't learned anything in the last 20 years. Well, like clockwork, the prison ghost shows up and is just hanging there in front of the girls. Not quite sure what he's doing. I think I have the same look when I'm trying to focus on taking a dump. Sometimes you just gotta push out the grumpy. Holtzman, thinking quickly, uses the time that the prison ghost is pooping to fire up some piece of equipment, and then gives Aaron a muffler to a 92 Honda Civic, which then shoots out some sort of flaccid laser beam that eventually interrupts the ghost taking a shit. And sure as hell, the prison ghost lashes out at Aaron. Wouldn't you? You're minding your own business, doing your own business. And a couple of broads show up and then proceed to wrap you up in some sort of hot lip noodle. Yeah, I'd be fucking pissed too. Well, rather than letting the prison ghost go so that he can go back to birthing a creamy behemoth, the girls drag his ass in front of an oncoming train, to which the ghost gets plowed and dragged away. Now, I get that you really can't be tried for killing someone that's already dead, but this was actually pretty fucking morbid. Dude was just minding his own business, taking a shit, and a bunch of chicks just show up and push him in front of a train. But again, though, no one sees the ghost except for the chicks. There are a ton of people that use the subways, and it was only just the 4 of them that are affected by it. I know, this seems a little strange to me, but let's move on. Oh yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. This way I can continue to bring more of this horrible content.
I sure as hell will.
Well, back at the Chinese lair, the girls have uploaded their attempted murder of a ghost pinching a loaf to YouTube, and all the comments are saying it's bullshit. They say it's the video that's fake and not the actual ghost dump that was bullshit. The best part is that Abby tells Aaron not to read the comments from the internet people. Wow, it's like she knew ahead of time that this movie was going to suck. But it does bring up a valid point. Why are all the comments saying it's fake? Something just doesn't add up. Whatever. Kevin then shows up with Abby's coffee, and Abby asks if we put sugar in it, and Kevin's response was to take a swig and then spit it back out. It's not funny, but you kind of want to see more of Kevin and less of the chicks? Maybe that's just me. Abby and Aaron continue talking, and the camera just pans to the side, and Patty's just sitting there declaring that she's joined the club. Shit, Kevin at least had to do an interview, but Patty says that she can bring a car, so that makes her a Ghostbuster. It's like literally showing up at NASA with a soldering iron and proclaiming yourself as an astronaut.
Just because you spend most of your time in a missionary position doesn't make you a missionary.
Also, Patty is played by Leslie Jones, who is also from Saturday Night Live, along with Rowan's character, Neil Casey, who in the next scene is talking to some old lady's back fat.
Oh, no, I was just laughing earlier when you were talking to his belly.
I mean, is this the best out of Saturday Night Live? So Rowan goes to a utility room where he obviously has some sort of hand fetish, and it's here where you realize that the retard is working on a master plan. Great. Back to the broads. Holtzman has allegedly upgraded the ghost fighting equipment, and rather than Holtzman testing the upgrades, they decide to have a morbidly obese chick with no muscle tone be the one to give it a go. Why not let Patty be the one to try out the equipment? She's like 6 feet tall or something.
Behemoth.
Well, afterwards, we see Roman up to no good at a rock concert, and we cut back to the old bags, and of course there's more dancing, which I guess turns Holtzman on because she looks like she wants to have a three-way with the cows, but they're all saved by the bell when the phone rings, saying that there's a ghost at a rock concert. The battle axes suit up, and just when they're ready to head out, Erin is confronted by her boyfriend Phil. Phil's been a shit to Erin this whole movie thus far, so I think we're all safe to call him mean. Oh, give me a break, there's more f***ing dancing! So the four gargoyles get to the concert, and while Patty is bitching about joining the team, even though no one invited her, ends up fighting a mannequin that eventually turns into a gargoyle, and then this happens.
Okay, so I don't know if it was a race thing or a lady thing.
Well, when Patty gets up and everyone is staring at her, I'm definitely going with a race thing. It doesn't help that Patty's built like Lurch from the Addams Family and sticks out like a sore thumb.
That's a huge bitch.
But whatever, four hags manage to trap a ghost of sorts, but I like how Holtzman in this scene is not shooting at the ghost, but in the very next scene you see all four beams. But considering all the continuity failures in this movie, I'll give this one a pass. One thing I'm very happy to see, the lead singer didn't receive any injuries and is quickly able to return to the mic. The Termagids celebrate catching the ghost by, ugh, come the f*** on! More goddamn dancing? Ah! You know what? That's it, I'm done. I'm done reviewing this f***ing movie. I tried to put a funny spin on this review, and holy dog balls, it's impossible. The writing is crap, the actresses are untalented, humorless f***s. There's no f***ing continuity, and any explanation makes zero sense. A film like this really makes me start thinking about how forced euthanization might be a good thing, and that these fat cows would just qualify for this, just based on their performance. Seriously, as a shitty content creator, you do your best and try to separate yourself from the other larger creators, and this movie nearly makes that impossible. It's so f***ing bad that I'm gonna have to stop for a minute to take a shit because my nerves are so riled up that my irritable bowel syndrome is acting up. Okay, I'm back. This stupid movie, but I'm a professional, you know, and we'll just move fast. But I am starting to get an idea of what's going on here. So Bill Murray shows up, but he's mean. Erin the Gash is so irritated by him that she kills Bill Murray. Then a black SUV shows up and takes the camel toes to go see the mayor. The mayor tells the shrews to shove the ghost up their ass, and Homeland Security guy is mean. Well, I guess he's also dumb, so there's that too. The Beavers are undeterred by their interaction with the government and push ahead, mapping out where all the recent ghosts have been sighted. They draw a correlation between the latest sightings and something called ley lines, even though the concept of ley lines was debunked in the late 90s. Either way, their conclusion draws them to the Mercado Hotel, where Patty immediately recognizes Rowan from a picture online. The Jelly Rolls then head out to the Mercado in their pink Cadillac. No, not that one. And it's here where we get a cameo from Annie Potts, working the front desk, and she pretty much just says, yeah, go downstairs to find Rowan. No security, in a tall building, in the middle of Manhattan.
They're just plain stupid, man.
They find Rowan jerking off in the basement while playing with what looks like some equipment from a Doctor Who episode. Rowan, who's embarrassed that four unfuckable bitches caught him beating his meat, decides to kill himself, so he's dumb. Holtzman then deactivates Rowan's anal intruder, and that's the movie, right? The mayor's office calls the frauds, and Erin assaults a retard who is being mean to her. Take that, patriarchy! Erin then goes home to sulk, and she's ultimately freaked out by Rowan's third-grade drawings. Abby, on the other hand, gets by what I guess is Rowan's ghost. Never figured the guy for a chubby chaser, but to each their own. The strange thing is that you never actually see Rowan, yet somehow he's going to town on Abby. Well, Patty sees what's going on and wants to join in. Holtzman freaks out when she sees Patty doing Abby from behind and tries to jump out of a window. Patty takes it too far with the slapping, and Ghost Rowan in a blower jumps into Kevin.
Whoa, gay!
Erin, on the other hand, is lost in a city that she grew up in and somehow stumbles on the mayor. She propositions him for sex, and the mayor, who actually has standards, is mean and turns her down. Erin insists that her head game is top-notch and attempts to show the mayor what she can do, but the mayor's bodyguards grab her before she can perform fellatio. Rowan inside Kevin returns to the Mercado to play with his Dalek. Rowan inside at Kevin figures out a way to open up the Genesis Ark and releases a Hole, a vibrant Hindu festival with lots of color. Erin, who obviously has a beef with Indian people, freaks out. Then Erin flags down a cab, and it's here where we are greeted with another cameo, this time Dan Aykroyd, who in the end winds up being mean to Erin. because of her racism. Meanwhile, the rest of Erin's gang is getting blasted by a big white dude, and Erin is so upset that she wasn't invited, shivs the white dude until he blows his load. The twats then face off with Rowan inside of Kevin, and they are attacked by what they perceive as an army of brightly colored ghosts, but I think this is bullshit. Maybe they are just having an allergic reaction to the power known as Gala that's tossed in the air in the Festival of Colors, and the broads are just hallucinating their interactions with these ghosts. It makes sense in a way because they start out with the proton packs that are just tossing the ghosts around, and then they break out these ridiculous weapons that somehow are destroying the ghosts. I mean, give me a fucking break. This makes absolutely no sense! And it reminds me of the opening scene in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas where Johnny Depp is fighting bats that only he can see. Okay, let's wrap this up. Somehow Rowan inside of Kevin then turns into a giant nutsack that will ultimately want to teabag the cows to death. However, the DEI busters light Rowan's pubic hairs on fire, and he disappears into a hole with Erin and Abby. But somehow they wake up and the city is back to normal with no signs of the crazy spirit army or any damage. None!
Nothing. Not a goddamn thing.
Why? What's going on here? Something isn't right and it's been annoying me this whole movie. It's almost like we only really see a ghost when the douchebusters are around. Wait, holy shit, I figured it out!
I solved a case!
This whole thing was a ruse. Oh my god, there were no ghosts in this movie. And what we really were watching was a bunch of middle-aged, unfuckable women with dead-end careers enlisting the help of dumb men to fool an entire city into thinking they are somehow heroes. Walter Peck was fucking right!
These chicks are consummate snowball artists. They use sense and nerve gases to induce hallucinations. People think they're seeing ghosts. And they call these bozos who conveniently show up to deal with the problem with a fake electronic light show.
Is it not true? The wenches were literally the only ones to initially see the ghosts at first. Even at the beginning, Gabe never saw an actual ghost. It was the chicks that did all the hooping and hollering about ghosts being real. These bitches were the ones that uploaded the fake videos and posted them to YouTube. Why not? Try to generate intrigue through views and clicks and hope something goes viral. But Abby and Erin ran into an issue. No one believed them. Viewers called them out saying everything was fake. So Holtzman needed to up the ante and develops a sense and nerve gas to take it to the next level. But where do you test it? How about in a closed venue where you can effectively check the potency of the gas? And what better than a metal concert where most of the folks are already on drugs or SSRIs? People think they are seeing ghosts, and they call these bozos who conveniently show up to deal with the problem with a fake electronic light show to create the great motherfucking Walter Peck. Now you have a group of people screaming to the media that they were attacked by ghosts. However, one incident is not enough. You need to focus on deploying it all over the city, and that's where Patty comes in. You know, I never really understood her character at first. Why does she know so many random facts about locations in the city, specifically when her cover is just an MTA employee working in the subway? Then it dawned on me. Her random knowledge could come to good use if you were trying to figure out a perfect location to arrange a mass deployment of this nerve gas. Patty would know which place would have the most effect on the population, and that's what she did. Obviously, there would be some skeptics regarding the ghost sightings, and this is where Erin came in. Her connections from Columbia University gave her access to many prominent figures in the city. This allowed them to operate with impunity. So when Bill Murray's character shows up, he's got to go. Erin probably had Patty throw him out a window and blame it on a ghost.
Holy shit, it's Bigfoot!
The viral videos, the incident at the music venue, and Bill Murray shitting the bed got them a meeting with the mayor, who, while not quite convinced, acknowledged that he was a believer. Erin then used this to generate more hysteria, especially when she just conveniently walks in on the mayor eating at a restaurant. How the f*** did she know where he would be without some internal connection? Oh, everything's starting to click now. Erin's melty with the mayor puts everyone on edge, while Patty figures out that Mercado is the perfect location for a citywide release of the nerve gas that will have the most coverage. Working her cover as an MTA employee, she's able to gain the confidence of a down-and-out janitor, Rowan, to give her access to a water main or something that would allow a good disbursement. But of course, Rowan is a loose end, so he's got to go. It's the exact same strategy used by the League of Shadows in Batman Begins. Contaminate the water supply and then vaporize the chemicals into an aerosol of some sorts that infects the local population. The result of the infection is that people start hallucinating and end up seeing ghosts. The busters show up with these cute little light tricks and fake effects, just like Mysterio did in Spider-Man Far From Home, and boom!
You're an hallucination brought on by alcohol, Russian vodka, poisoned by Chernobyl.
By the time the effects of the gas wear off and the people come to, being none the wiser, you're able to take credit for defeating the paranormal. Why does Kevin survive? Well, Erin took a fancy to him, so she probably threatened him to cooperate or go muff diving on Abby. The net outcome of all this is that these cunning fatties wind up with a fancy laboratory and a ton of funding, all just by duping the population. It's f***ing genius, and that's why Walter Peck was not in this version. He would have unraveled the whole damn thing. So there you have it. Ghostbusters, Don't Answer the Call is nothing but a scam perpetrated by a bunch of nasty shrews that enjoy nothing more than dicking over men, all for their personal financial gain.
Yes, it's true. This broad has no dick.
What's the hurry? Why are we in such a bloody rush? Oh.
Hey, thank you for watching. What we do here is just satire, and we have a good time doing it. If you enjoyed and liked what you saw, please click the subscribe button. It'll really help me out. If you're really feeling generous, become a member or join my Patreon. I'm working on something extra special for those that are willing to give. Now, just leave me alone.